Welcome to Familypreneur, the podcast for parent entrepreneurs
raising kidpreneurs.
It's time for your weekly dose of inspiration and actionable tips to build your business and find better balance, all while strengthening your family. And now we'd like to introduce your host.
She's my mom and thebomb.com, Meg Brunson.
Hey there, welcome to episode number 73 of the Familypreneur podcast. We have a lot of new listeners, and I want to thank you so much for finding us and tuning in and encourage you to subscribe. So whatever platform you are listening on, there is the option to subscribe and ensure that you don't miss another episode of the podcast. I also want to welcome back our regular listeners. I know I hear from a lot of you in my inbox, and I appreciate that, and I'm glad that you're here today. I'm really excited because we are talking to a young lady whose business is unique because it was built from a traumatic experience that she had. Her safety lockets help prevent the misidentification of kids at school, daycare, and on field trips. People need to know about this product because more than 800,000 kids go missing every year in the United States. That's crazy, right? Her brand also includes African American baby dolls, an audio affirmation series, t-shirts, and more. I would like to introduce you to the 8-year-old CEO of K-Lock, Kennedi Harris, and her dad, Sean. Hi, Kennedi. Hi, Sean. Thank you guys for joining me.
Hi there.
Hi.
Hi, I'm so excited to have you. I love interviewing parents and their kiddos.
Cool. Thank you for having us.
So, Kennedi, you are 9 years old.
Yes.
And how long have you been running your business?
1 year.
1 year. Can you take us back a year ago and tell us how it got started? Because you've got a story.
I got started because a lady took me from my school by misidentification. There was another Kennedi that she was supposed to pick up, but she picked up me instead. That's why I have lockets that has the child's name, the school, and the parent's information.
Whoa. So 2 kids with the same name, because Kennedi is kind of a popular name. It's very beautiful. So lots of kids are called Kennedi. And they sent you in somebody else's place. So you went with a stranger somewhere.
Yes.
And how, Sean, how was that for you? Did you?
It was horrific. As a matter of fact, I went to her after school care to pick her up as normal. And when I got there, they said, well, Kennedy's not here today. And I was like, she is here today because I dropped her off. And the after school care called the school. And when I called the school, they kind of gave us a runaround. They said, well, hold on for a minute. So they kept the after school care on hold for quite a while. So, it's like 2 miles away. So I just jumped in the vehicle and just shot over to the school real quick. And I have a background in law enforcement. So I had contacted the county police, the school police, to go ahead and see if they can get a person over there to see in case she was wandering around or anything like that. When I got to the school, then they told me that she had got on the incorrect school bus. And I knew that was very unlikely because she had been enrolled in the after school care since she was like 2 years old. So she was very acclimated with getting on the proper bus. And I said, well, okay, if she went to the wrong daycare, just give me the information. I'll go pick her up because I figured it couldn't be too far. And through about another 10 minutes of back and forth, they admitted that they were lying to me about the incident and had, in fact, told me that the DFACS caseworker had come and pick her up about 2 hours earlier and took her to 2 counties over, which was about maybe 12 miles away.
Whoa. Kennedi, was that scary?
Yes.
Because you probably didn't know where you were going. Did they tell you anything?
No.
Could you tell her about the ride over and what happened when you got there and what she was asking you?
She brought me into a brick building, and she set me in a room by myself with toys and gave me water and crackers.
Whoa. That's crazy. So, Sean, once you figured out what was really going on, how long did it take you to find her and get her back?
Yeah, it was like 2.5 hours that she was missing before I got her back. I guess it was probably like 5:30ish by the time I finally got her back in my possession. I stated that I needed to speak to the worker, and actually the worker that picked her up wasn't actually a caseworker. So she wasn't legally able to really transport, even though she did, and because of their backload. So I got in touch with her on her cell phone and, demanded that she bring her to me immediately. So, we had a discussion with myself, the police officer, the principal, and the vice principal once they did get her back to school, and started that process of the breakdown as far as what happened. And we found out that, in fact, that their identification process really didn't exist.
Yeah.
I was like, do you ask the child for their name, their birthday, or anything like that? And she said, no, we just take whatever the school gives us. And
oh, my goodness.
Yeah. Kennedy name ends with the letter I. They were looking for Kennedy at the end of the letter Y. And it's a 2-year birthday difference. So they should have been able to determine that it wasn't, in fact, the right Kennedy, because they kept asking her on the trip going over, have you ever been to DFAX, or are you familiar with DFAX? And when she got there, she had asked Kennedy, have you ever been here before? And Kennedy looked at the building like, I have no idea where I'm at. They still proceeded through their process.
And can you tell me what is DFAX?
It's a Department of Family Services.
So the schools didn't have like a proper way of identifying the kids, which is crazy. Before we jump into your solution, I just have to ask, did you, like the next day, did Kennedy just go to school like normal?
I'm going to let Kennedy tell you what happened there.
When I went to the school, we went into a meeting, and there was the counselor to make sure that I got in my room safely and went on my bus safely.
Yeah, we met the next morning. The superintendent for the county actually called me that next morning. We had a meeting with school counselors, the teachers, principal, vice principal, and they really didn't have a good resolution other than, well, she appears to be fine now. And when we contacted the DFAX department, even to this day, it's been over a year and a half, they still never got back with me, and they promised that they would call me the very next day. And, they were kind of in the mindset and had the discernment and the demeanor of just, well, you got your kid back, be happy. So, it didn't sit well with us in the situation. So, we had to figure out other ways as a coping mechanism. And that's what was the inception of the company, KLOC.
Right. Because, that's a situation that should never happen.
Yes.
Like ever. So tell me more about KLOC. I know you mentioned it a little bit in the beginning, Kennedy, but what exactly is it and how does it solve this problem?
I came up with KLOC because the beginning of my name is K, and then for the lockets are for the parents' information, the school, and the kid.
So parents can buy the KLOCs, it's a necklace, and their children can wear them. And I think I saw on your website, they can put them like in front of their shirt or in their shirt, right?
Yes.
So this way, if they get lost or misplaced or anything, they've got some identification with them so that hopefully that won't happen to other kids.
Yeah.
That's a really great idea. And then how did you decide that was something you were going to make a business out of?
From my family.
Are there other entrepreneurs in your family?
Yes.
So who else is an entrepreneur?
My dad and my brother.
So Dad, Sean, you said that you have some background in law enforcement and you're entrepreneurial. Can you tell me a little bit about what that looks like for you?
Yes. Actually, when we grew up, my parents told me, you have 3 choices when you graduate from high school. You either go to college, go to the military, or go get a job. So I went to the Air Force, and as one of my childhood dreams was always to be in law enforcement. So I did that for many years. But after a while, I followed in the footsteps of my parents and my great uncle, who were both entrepreneurs. So I started a couple companies in real estate and continued segueing into that. And also my son, he's 8 years old. He also has a financial literacy business called Daddy Did You Know? And he came up with that idea that he wanted to create because he saw Kennedy starting her business. It became very profitable. And he wanted to also, follow in the footsteps of the rest of the family members as far as being entrepreneurs.
It's definitely contagious entrepreneurialism. Awesome. So you guys had this idea, and what were the first steps? What did it look like to you guys to build the business?
Yeah, what we did was, as a coping mechanism, she wanted to ensure that that incident would never happen to another kid. Because when we went home that night, as you can imagine, she didn't want to go to sleep. She cried all night. And she just dreaded having to wake up and go to school the next morning. So going through that process, my wife and I, we had to figure out a way, how can we help her to cope? We actually took her to an outside counselor as well, but we saw that wasn't the best process at that particular time. So we knew she had an interest in like clothing and cosmetics, the typical things girls her age are into. So with the locket business, we started that, and there was a kid vending an event. So we said, hey, let's just register and see what happens. And she made incredible sales at that event. She segued from the safety locket that she has into cosmetics. She has her own body cream that she created that she makes here at home, and with different fragrances. Cotton candy was one that was the favorite. And she then started an apparel line, which I'm wearing one of her shirts now, K-Lock shirts,
fun.
with the K inside the logo. And she has on one of the shirts that's a big seller, which is called Girls, Curls, and Pearls.
Ooh, I like it.
Put into the shirt there, so the little girls love that. She has another shirt that says Daddy's Little Girl. It has a father holding the daughter's hand. And she segued from there into her own signature collection of baby dolls.
Oh, that's awesome. So all of the dolls have beautiful, curly, thick hair.
Mm-hmm.
I love that too. Because you don't see a lot of that in the stores, right?
No.
That's so awesome. And do you design the clothes and stuff for the dolls?
I have a manufacturer that I get to tell them how I want the dolls to look like.
That's so awesome. So the business started with the K-Locks a year ago, but you've grown and expanded it as your interests change, right?
Yes.
Do you have plans for 2019? What's going to happen this year?
I have new books, the science behind it, raising a kidpreneur. And I have another book coming out in it, affirmation.
Ooh, affirmations. Are those going to be for kids or for adults or both?
It's for both. My affirmation is going to be about in the morning how you're supposed to wake up and feel and say positive things to yourself.
That's really awesome. I think a lot of people need that. Now, I also wanted to ask about Toastmasters, because that's a group that I've heard about, and I know that you've attended, or do you still regularly go to Toastmasters meetings?
Yeah.
So tell me about that.
I go to Toastmasters. They tell us how to speak. And the first day I went there, I saw people talking confident and clear. So I started to talk confident and clear.
That's awesome. Are you the only kids there?
No.
I don't know if there's I don't know if I've seen kids at the local Toastmasters clubs here. That's really amazing.
Yeah, it's an all-kid Toastmaster, and they have their own president, vice president, and they actually run the entire meeting. And the parents, we just kind of sit on the side and just observe.
Oh, I didn't realize it was like a kid-specific Toastmasters. Did somebody locally start that, or is that like a national option? Do you know what I mean? Yeah,
one of the president that originally ran it, she's in a Toastmaster, an adult Toastmaster, and she saw that there was a great need for young children to have a Toastmaster. So they started a few years back, and my wife and I, we have been searching quite a while to find some type of speaker platform, with most of the Toastmasters organizations started at 18 and above. So this organization goes from 7 years old to 18 years old. So it's a great platform to be able to help kids just be able to articulate at a younger age. And as a result, her little brother, as a result of him being a Toastmaster, he had entered a pitching competition similar to what we know as Shark Tank. And he won $25,000 for the elevator pitch. What a great group. Yes. So I want to jump back really quick to your books. You've got 3 books there. Raising a Kidpreneur. Is that a little bit about your story
And do you give tips in there on how to raise your child to be entrepreneurial?
Yes.
Now, what about the science behind it? What does that book cover?
The science behind it is about me and 20 other authors that talk about our businesses and how we started.
So did you contact 20 other authors and get them all involved in the process?
They contacted me.
I love that idea.
It was collaborated with 22 other kidpreneur business owners, and they just come from various backgrounds around the world. And from, I think our youngest entrepreneur in here is like maybe 6 or 7, and goes up to 18.
That's definitely a book I'm going to want to check out because I love learning about other kidpreneurs.
Yeah, so that's the science behind it.
And do you do a lot of reading?
Yes.
What type of books do you read most frequently?
Wrinkle in Time and Dork Diary.
Oh, we're big fans of both of those over here. Did you see the Wrinkle in Time movie?
Yes.
Did you like it?
Yes. And I met Storm Reed.
No way. How did you get to meet her?
It was a business event with small children. She was actually one of the speakers, her and a couple other guys from a Disney and Nickelodeon show. And she did a little special shout out video for Kennedi, and they spent some time together that afternoon, did a book signing, and just shared some opportunity to get some insight from Storm. And she gave her some good tips as far as moving forward as a young entrepreneur.
Oh, that sounds like it was awesome.
Yeah.
Kennedi, do you have a vision of what you want to be when you grow up? Will this business just grow and evolve with you, or do you have other ideas?
I have other ideas, like being a doctor.
Can you tell what kind of doctor?
A pediatrician.
Because you like helping people, right? And you like kids?
Yes.
Do you have any advice, Kennedi, that you would want to share for other kids who might be listening and be interested in starting a business?
Yes. Never give up, work for it, and exceed your goals. And get your parents on board.
Get your parents on board. That's important because your parents help you a lot, right? Yeah. I also wanted to know, how do you balance everything, Kennedi? Like, when do you work on your business versus doing like school and homework? Does it become hard sometimes?
No, a little bit. But after I'm done with my homework in the afternoon, I can sell products.
So you found a pretty good balance, huh?
Yes.
Awesome. Sean, do you have any advice as a parent for other parents who have kids who are entrepreneurial? Because I think it's tough. You know, you're balancing your family and your business, and then you've got your kids that are trying to launch a business too. So how does that work?
I always recommend for parents to take a good observation of the children, to see what they're interested in. You know, a lot of times I think some parents may brush over interests that their children have when, in fact, that could actually be a spear point for their success or a journey that they may want to take. So, you know, oftentimes I think that we tend to always want our children to be athletes or perhaps entertainers. There's so many different opportunities being entrepreneurs in which they can make a great living and make the same type of income that a professional ball player may make or an entertainer. So with parents, we dedicate a lot of time into our kids. We invest in them. We get them around events like we say with the Toastmasters. They come to events with us. We go speaker events like E.T. Eric Thomas is a popular speaker known as E.T. So, we take them to events like that, and not to just look at them as children, but to put them in an adult environment so that they can perform at a higher level than their peers. So I think that's real important as a parent that wants to get their kids started into entrepreneurial pursuits, and to also find out for themselves so that they can have a foundation. It's like, we can't teach them math if we don't understand math principles. So same thing with business. We have to understand the foundational concepts of business, how to run a business, and most importantly, become financial literate and understand finances. And I think that would be a great start for any parent who has an interest in pursuing entrepreneurial aspects for the children.
And that's exactly why I started this podcast, because I found myself in a position where I fell into entrepreneurship and didn't know what I was doing. So I don't want that for my kids. I want them to be more empowered than I was.
Exactly. I agree.
Well, before we go, can you please share where our listeners can buy the K-Locks, find out more information about all of your products, your lotion, your dolls, your books? Where can we find out more about you?
KLOCKproducts.com.
Awesome. Thank you guys both so much for taking some time out of your schedule to join me and share all of this information. It was so interesting to hear about your story, and I'm really sorry that you had to go through it, but I'm glad that you took that situation and turned it around into something positive that's helping other people.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Meg.
You'll find all of the links mentioned in this week's episode and the show notes at megbrunson.com/73.